After overcoming the disruptive illusions of the devil and the restoration of harmony by way of the Thunderbolt that destroys the tower, we are next guided out of the darkness by the star. However, this isn't easy, which is why this card has an esoteric meaning of struggle. Hello, I'm Michael J. Auger, creator of the Allcento Tarot, and today let's take a closer look at the 17th card of the Major Arcana. When the tarot is viewed in repeating patterns of 10, this 17th triumph card is the second cycle of 7. Similar to the struggle of the charioteer of the chariot card trying to keep his horses on the right path, the star card also represents a struggle. Sometimes finding the willpower to escape a dark situation can be a challenge. The Visconti-Sforza version of this card depicts a maiden reaching out and grabbing a star, which may suggest the idea of catching an idea. The star is a symbol used to represent inspiration, similar to how a light bulb turning on also communicates this idea. Wishing on a star can be the first step towards manifestation of a goal. Coming up with new, bright ideas can often be a struggle, but when it happens, even the faintest star can make all the difference. Some historians suggest that the 3 celestial cards of the tarot correspond with the 3 theological virtues, the star linking to the virtue of hope. In Dante's Inferno, the gates of hell are described as having a sign which reads, "Abandon all hope, ye who enter here." I think the reason for this sign is because hope is the only way out of hell. Before anything can get better, we must first have hope that it will. Until we do, we remain forever trapped. The star acts as a compass to guide us forward on our spiritual path. In fact, for many centuries, understanding the patterns of stars was essential for navigation, especially by sailors at sea. British poet John Masefield famously wrote the line, "All I ask is a tall ship and a star to steer her by." Some depictions of this card include astronomers with their measuring instruments, including the Hercule Edeste and the Jacques Fauville. Another variation of this card depicts an androgynous figure pouring water from 2 urns underneath a large star, surrounded by smaller stars, the earliest existing example of this being from the Carey sheet. Other versions that continued this theme include the Jean Noblet and the Jean Dodal depictions from Marseille-style versions of the tarot, although the figure in these other cards was interpreted decidedly more feminine. Her nudity represents the purity of being washed clean and reborn, and she's seen pouring water from 2 vessels, one into a stream and the other onto the land. Occultists have suggested this represents a struggle to find equilibrium between the material and the spiritual. Antoine Court de Gébelin interpreted the 7 small stars depicted as the hermetic ladder of planets orbiting what he saw as the sphere of fixed stars and gateway to heaven. In some Marseille-style versions of this card, a bird can be seen in the background, which has been interpreted as the resurrected soul ascending, or a messenger to connect us with the divine. These details were continued by French tarot creator Oswald Wirth, with exception to the bird, which he transforms into a butterfly, a link to Psyche, the Greek goddess of the soul. The stars depicted on Wirth's version of this card each have 8 points, a link to Ishtar, who Wirth described as the goddess who demands her followers approach courageously the struggle for existence. Wirth also saw the young woman as an incarnation of Ishtar and the lover of the living. Wirth wrote that our love of the material enslaves us, leaving us in darkness that would be complete if not for the stars that symbolize humble, spiritual aspiration. This archetype consoles and comforts those who are overwhelmed by the struggles of existence. The depiction of the star by Arthur Edward Waite and Pamela Colman Smith is similar to Wirth. However, the butterfly is changed back into a bird. Waite references what he considered tawdry explanations of this being a card of hope, and proclaimed that for the majority of prepared minds, the figure represents unveiled truth of undying beauty that he saw as the Great Mother corresponding to Bina on the Tree of Life. Unlike the depiction of Temperance, who dips her toe into the water, Smith illustrates one foot of this woman standing on top of the water. the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, linked this card to the zodiac sign of Aquarius, the water bearer, and the woman depicted is holding two vessels of water. She uses one to pour water into the river, or sea of subconscious, and the other she uses to pour water onto the earth, the material. This card represents the alchemical stage of albedo, or whitening. This is a baptism in which the blackness of the preceding cards is washed away into white. This is the peace found after the storm. The star is our guide that aids our struggle to rise from the dark unconscious so that we can continue on our journey towards a higher level of consciousness. In the Book of the Law, Aleister Crowley wrote, "Every man and every woman is a star." When you think of stars in this way, the famous song from Walt Disney's Pinocchio takes on deeper meaning. When you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are, anything your heart desires will come to you. When we wish upon ourselves, whoever we may be, we have the power to rise from darkness, connect with the divine, and manifest our dreams. The version of this card created by Aleister Crowley and Lady Freda Harris is one of the most beautiful cards in the Thoth deck. The personified Egyptian goddess Nuit, who Crowley also saw as the Scarlet Woman, holds two cups which create the milk of the stars. From a golden cup, she pours an ethereal water made of milk, oil, and blood upon her head to renew the possibilities of material existence. And from a silver cup, she pours the immortal liquor of her life. Behind her, dominating the center of the card, is a celestial sphere that represents the entire universe. On this sphere, a counterclockwise spinning star can be seen. Anything outside the sphere represents spiritual ideas that transcend the physical. A second, smaller star is poured from a golden cup spinning clockwise, and a larger third star can be seen in the top left corner that spins counterclockwise. Every form of energy depicted is spiral. It's only the lower cup that generates geometric shapes with straight edges and angles representing the illusions of the material. The Golden Dawn links this card with the Hebrew letter He, which means window. The star provides the promise of divine revelation of the unseen and may possibly allow us a peek through a mystical window. And here is the star from the Allcento tarot. This version pays tribute to earlier incarnations and depicts a large star encircled by smaller stars, which all shine in the early morning night sky. The prominent star looks like a compass and has 8 points, which links it with the goddess Ishtar. Ishtar stripped off her clothing in order to pass through 7 gates into the underworld to rescue her lover, and is a symbol of inspiration and hope in our moment of struggle. Below this star is a nude woman with a star tattoo on her arm. She represents the soul reunified with the body. To her side is a scarlet ibis, another symbol of inspiration, which stands on top of a box that displays the sign of the septenary, a 3-sided triangle struggling to break free from a 4-sided square. The bird catches a fish from the waters of the subconscious and acts as a carrier of messages from the divine. To her other side, there's a butterfly resting on a blooming flower, which represents rebirth and redemption. The woman pours water from the golden vessel into the water, representing the universal consciousness, and pours water from a silver vessel onto the earth, representing the material world. This separates into 5 streams, which esoterically symbolize the 5 senses. She is sometimes called the daughter of the heavens and dwells between the waters. Her trust in the divine allows her front foot to rest miraculously on the surface of the water without disturbing it. When our conscious and unconscious mind work together, anything is possible. Struggle on and may your little light shine. And to learn more about me and the Allcento Tarot, please visit my website, offbeatartwork.com. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment to share your support. And until next time, brightest blessings on your spiritual journey.